and properly channel our righteous indignation at the direction this country is turned by a man who was born for this job, who has appeared on the scene at such a time as this. God bless Ted Cruz for coming along at the right time in our lives and in the history of this nation, and Godspeed to him as he continues on his noble quest to preserve America for us and our children as that glorious, shining city on a hill. I give to you the next President of the United States, Senator Ted Cruz.
With you tonight. I am thrilled to be in the company of patriots. Let me say to Rich Bott, thank you for being here, and thank you for your great leadership with radio stations all across Missouri and all across this country, preaching the gospel and speaking the truth. Thank you. And how about David Limbaugh? Isn't he extraordinary? What a voice for freedom. What a voice for the Constitution. What a scholar. What a thinker. I'll tell you, between David and his brother, is it something y'all put in the water down here? This is the town that knows how to grow freedom lovers. Girardeau isn't afraid to stand up and speak the truth come what may and fight for the United States of America. So today is yet another election day. Right now today, the great state of Wyoming just finished their caucuses. 74% of the results have been counted. And it looks like we have won the state of Wyoming. And I'll confess, the results aren't exactly a nail-biter. With 74% of the ballots counted, we have 65% of the vote. Some fella named Donald Trump, he's at 4.9%. Say, God bless the great state of Wyoming. You know, all of us here, we're here because our country's in crisis. Because we're bankrupting our kids and grandkids. Because our constitutional rights are under assault. And because America has receded from leadership in the world. And yet I'm here tonight with a word of hope and encouragement. I believe this election is going to be about three issues: jobs, freedom, and security. Let's talk about jobs. Let me talk for a minute to all the single moms here who are working 2 and 3 part-time jobs, who've had your hours forcibly reduced to 28, 29 hours a week because Obamacare kicks in at 30 hours a week. Let me talk to all the truck drivers and plumbers and electricians and union members and men and women with calluses on your hands, who've seen wages stagnating year after year after year. Cost of living keeps going up every year, but somehow your wages never seem to keep pace. Let me talk to all the young people coming out of school with student loans up to your eyeballs. Scared, am I going to get a job? What does the future hold for me? Now the media tries to tell all of us this is as good as it gets. Let me tell you right now, that is an absolute lie. It's easy to talk about making America great again. You can even print that on a baseball cap. But the critical question is, do you understand the principles that made America great in the first place? You know, the heart of our economy, it's not Washington, D.C., and it's not New York City. The heart of our economy is small businesses all over the United States of America. If you want to kill the economy, do what we've done the last 7 years. Hammer the living daylights out of small businesses each and every day. And if you want to see jobs explode, then you lift the boot of the federal government off the backs and the necks of small business. If I'm elected president, we will repeal every word of Obamacare. We'll pass common sense health care reform that makes health insurance personal and portable and affordable and keeps government from getting in between us and our doctors. And we will pass a simple flat tax. So that every American can fill out our taxes on a postcard. And when we do that, we should abolish the IRS. We're going to rein in the EPA and the CFPB and the alphabet soup of federal agencies that have descended like locusts on small businesses, killing jobs all across this country. And we will stop amnesty and secure the borders and end sanctuary cities and end welfare benefits for people here illegally. And the result of all of this is going to be real simple. We're going to see millions of high-paying jobs. We're going to see wages going up for everybody. We're going to see young people coming out of school having 2, 3, 4, 5 job opportunities. It'll be morning in America again. The second critical issue in this election is freedom. You know, just a few weeks ago, the passing of Justice Scalia underscored for all of us the stakes of this election. It is not one branch, but 2 branches of government that hangs in the balance. We are one left-wing justice away from a radical 5-justice liberal majority, the likes of which this country's never seen. We are one liberal justice away from the Supreme Court stripping away the religious liberty of every American. We are one liberal justice away from the Supreme Court effectively erasing the Second Amendment from the Bill of Rights. And we are one liberal justice away from the Supreme Court making us subject to the authority of the World Court and the United Nations and international law and giving up U.S. sovereignty. Now, you know, 2 debates ago, we got a question about religious liberty and the Supreme Court. And Donald Trump turned to me, he said, "Ted, I've known a lot more politicians than you have." Now in that, he's right. He has been supporting liberal Democratic politicians for 40 years. I have no experience doing that. But Donald went on, he said, "Ted, when it comes to the Supreme Court, when it comes to religious liberty," he said, "you got to be prepared to compromise. You got to be willing to cut a deal with the Democrats to go along to get along." Well, let me be very, very clear to the men and women of Missouri. I will not compromise away your religious liberty. And I will not compromise away your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. The third critical issue in this election is security. You know, for 7 years we've seen a president who abandons and alienates our friends and allies, and who shows weakness and appeasement to our enemies. Again, 2 debates ago, we were asked about this, and Donald Trump responded that if he were president, he would be neutral between Israel and the Palestinians. Well, let me be very, very clear. As president, I will not be neutral. America will stand unapologetically with the nation of Israel. And if you cannot tell the difference between our friends and our enemies, if you cannot differentiate between Israel and the terrorists who want to kill us, that raises real questions about your judgment and fitness to be commander-in-chief. You know, over 7 years we've seen our military weakened. We've seen our readiness undermining. We've seen morale of the troops plummeting. And you know, we've seen this before. We've previously seen another left-wing Democratic president, Jimmy Carter, who weakened the military and endangered this country. And in January 1981, Ronald Reagan came into office. What did Ronald Reagan do? He cut taxes, he lifted regulations, small businesses exploded, millions of high-paying jobs were created. That generated trillions in new government revenue. He used that money to rebuild the military, and we bankrupted the Soviet Union and won the Cold War. Amen. I intend to do the exact same thing with radical Islamic terrorism. We're going to repeal Obamacare, abolish the IRS, lift regulations. Small businesses are going to explode, millions of new jobs. It'll generate trillions in new revenue, and we will use that revenue to rebuild this military so it remains the mightiest fighting force on the face of the planet. And no longer will our military be governed by political correctness. We will have a commander-in-chief who stands up and says to the world, we will destroy radical Islamic terrorism. We'll have a president willing to utter the words, radical Islam. One of the saddest aspects of the last 7 years has been watching this president send our fighting men and women into combat with rules of engagement so strict that their arms are tied behind their back, that they cannot fight, they cannot defend themselves, they cannot defeat the enemy. That is wrong, it is shameful, and mark my words, in January 2017, it will end. America has always been reluctant to use military force. We are slow to anger. But if and when military force is needed, we should use overwhelming power, kill the enemy, and then get the heck out. So the Missouri primary is 3 days away. 3 days till Election Day. And where are we in this race? Well, a year ago, we started off with 17 candidates. 17 Republican candidates, a young, dynamic, diverse, talented field. What a contrast with the Democrats. Over the course of this year, we have seen that field narrow and narrow and narrow. And at this point, it is clear that there are only two candidates that have any plausible path to becoming the Republican nominee, to winning the Republican nomination: Donald Trump and myself. To win, you need 1,237 delegates. As of this morning, we had 361. Donald had 99 more than I do. Nobody else is remotely close. And so I want to take a minute, and I want to speak to people in this room. If you're among the 65 to 70% of Republicans who recognize Donald Trump is not the best candidate to run against Hillary Clinton, that if Donald is our nominee, we lose. Hillary wallops Donald Trump, and if we lose, if Hillary becomes the president, we lose the Supreme Court for a generation. We lose the Bill of Rights. We lose our children buried in debt as opportunity is taken from them. Now, if you're one of those 65 to 70% of Republicans who recognize Donald Trump loses to Hillary, I want to say maybe you started this race supporting somebody else. Maybe you started supporting Jeb Bush or Chris Christie. Maybe you started supporting Rand Paul or Mike Huckabee, or Carly Fiorina or Ben Carson. Maybe now you're thinking about supporting John Kasich or Marco Rubio. Every one of them are good, honorable, decent people. Every one of them I like and respect. But it is abundantly clear that none of them have any plausible path to beating Donald Trump. So if you don't want to see Donald Trump as the Republican nominee, if you don't want to see Hillary Clinton elected as the next president, then I ask you, even if you were supporting somebody else, come join us. We welcome you on our team. We are the only campaign that has beaten Donald not once, not twice, not 3 times, but as of tonight with Wyoming, 9 different times. Missouri is a battleground. Right now, here in the state of Missouri, Donald Trump and I are effectively tied. We are neck and neck. This state will have a powerful voice nationwide on Tuesday.
We're with you, Dan.
Thank you. So I want to ask every one of you to come out and vote for me 10 times. Now look, we're not Democrats. I'm not suggesting voter fraud. But if every one of you here gets 9 other people to come and vote on Tuesday, you will have voted 10 times. You're not yet old enough to vote. You know, if you get 10 other people to come out and vote on Tuesday, you will have voted 10 times before you turn 18. That's how we win. Take a look around at the men and women gathered here. If everyone here gets 9 other people, the men and women in this room control over 15,000 votes. That is enough to control the outcome of the election here in the state of Missouri. If we stand together, we're going to win this nomination. We're going to beat Donald Trump. We're going to win the general election. We're going to beat Hillary Clinton. And we will turn this nation around. Yeah. It took Jimmy Carter to give us Ronald Reagan. And I am convinced the most long-lasting legacy of Barack Obama is going to be a new generation of leaders in the Republican Party who stand and fight for liberty, who stand and fight for the Constitution, and who stand and fight for the Judeo